4,000-year-old mystery. How were pyramids built? It's a question many have asked. Or did aliens help them? We've seen all sorts of theories, but it looks like scientists finally have the answer.
For centuries, the pyramids of Giza have been described as marvels of human ambition, monuments that defy time and imagination.
Tens of thousands of people here building the pyramids. Where's their settlement?
But despite countless theories and volumes of research, one central question has never been answered with certainty. Who really built them? Were they truly the work of the ancient Egyptians, or the inheritance of an even older and more advanced civilization? In 2025, this question shifted from speculation to something far more tangible when artificial intelligence scanning revealed structures buried deep beneath the plateau. Structures that seem to tell a story archaeology has avoided for generations. Machines see what humans cannot. When the University of Pisa launched its AI-driven radar project in early 2025, the team expected to refine existing maps of the Giza plateau, not rewrite human history. The system deployed was unlike traditional ground-penetrating radar that barely scratches the surface. It was a synthetic aperture radar system capable of sending pulses into the Earth, then processing the echoes with advanced neural networks trained to distinguish natural geology from artificial architecture. The machine learning algorithms were modeled on thousands of archaeological sites worldwide, which meant they could identify deliberate geometry invisible to the human eye. When the radar swept beneath the Khafra pyramid, it did not return random noise or shallow voids. It returned an image of symmetry. The scan revealed 5 identical multi-level structures linked by straight corridors, with 8 vertical wells spiraling down over 2,000 feet beneath the sands. 2 cube-like chambers, each the size of a modern office tower, appeared at the lowest levels. To dismiss this as a geological anomaly strained logic. Rocks do not create perfect cubes aligned to cardinal directions, nor do they produce spiral staircases etched in geometric precision. The AI presented its findings without bias or agenda. What it saw beneath the pyramids resembled a vast subterranean city. Yet within hours of publishing their preliminary results, the Pisa team faced immediate backlash. Prominent Egyptologists dismissed the scans as errors or overinterpretations. Zahi Hawass, longtime guardian of the Egyptian narrative, publicly declared the findings unscientific, but his dismissal only fueled debate. If the AI had simply detected random features, why did multiple satellite constellations, including Italy's Cosmos SkyMed and America's Capella Space, confirm the same patterns? The machines did not collaborate or fabricate data. They observed, processed, and revealed what lay hidden. The discovery set off a chain reaction. If vast structures existed beneath Giza, then the pyramids were not isolated tombs, but part of a much larger engineered complex. This immediately raised a question that mainstream authorities were not prepared to answer. If not the dynastic Egyptians, then who possessed the knowledge to create such a network thousands of years ago? Could the answer lie in discoveries made not by Italians, but by Japanese scientists years earlier who stumbled on their own impossible structure at Giza? The Japanese Gateway. Between 2021 and 2023, researchers from Tohoku University in Japan had quietly carried out one of the most thorough ground surveys of the Giza plateau. Led by geophysicist Motoyuki Sato, the team focused on a flat patch of desert west of the Great Pyramid, an area dismissed as unremarkable. Using ground-penetrating radar, they uncovered something that changed their assumptions entirely. Just beneath the surface lay an L-shaped structure measuring 33 by 49 feet. Its sharp angles ruled out natural geology. What truly intrigued the team was what lay beneath this entrance feature. At depths between 16 and 33 feet, they detected a larger chamber measuring 33 by 33 feet. Electrical resistivity measurements suggested voids deliberately filled or concealed. The geometry resembled a portal, a gateway leading downward. Published in the peer-reviewed journal Archaeological Prospection, The findings were not fringe speculation. Independent experts confirmed the artificial nature of the anomalies. The L shape matched descriptions in Egyptian texts of offering chapels, but its placement underground was unprecedented. When excavation permits were granted, the Japanese team physically uncovered the structure, validating the scans. Stones cut with precision formed a deliberate entry system. Below, cavities matched the radar's prediction. What purpose did this buried gateway serve? Traditional explanations of tombs did not fit. Instead, scholars began whispering about initiation chambers, concealed entrances, and connections to deeper networks, long theorized but never proven. This discovery suddenly gave weight to the Italian claims. If a Japanese team had already proven the existence of hidden structures at shallow depths, why was it so hard to accept that larger and deeper structures might also exist? Archaeology thrives on physical evidence, and the Japanese excavation provided exactly that. The coincidence was too great to ignore. But what if these modern revelations were not new at all? Merely rediscoveries of knowledge preserved in texts that mainstream scholars dismissed for centuries. Echoes of the ancient records. Among Egypt's many enigmatic inscriptions, one has always stood apart: the inventory stela. Dating from the late period, over 2,000 years after Khufu's reign, it describes the pharaoh not as a builder, but as a restorer. According to the text, Khufu encountered the Sphinx and surrounding temples as already ancient, undertaking repairs rather than original construction. For mainstream Egyptology, this is dismissed as myth or propaganda. Yet alternative researchers have long pointed to it as evidence that Giza predates dynastic Egypt. The new AI scans breathed life into such contested sources. If vast underground complexes existed beneath the pyramids, then the Stella's account might reflect a memory of lost civilizations, passed down through priestly traditions until later dynasties reasserted their ownership. Similar references appear in the writings of Herodotus and in Arab chronicles describing hidden chambers and halls of records. For decades, these accounts were brushed aside, but the combination of Italian radar, Japanese excavation, and textual memory painted a picture too coherent to ignore. Graham Hancock, long derided for his claims about lost civilizations, suddenly appeared vindicated. For over 30 years, he argued that the pyramids were not tombs, but remnants of an advanced culture erased by cataclysm. His theories about pre-flood civilizations and sophisticated knowledge once sounded fringe. Yet the AI scans showing spiraling wells, cube-shaped chambers, and kilometer-deep tunnels aligned eerily with his proposals. Critics who once mocked him now found themselves scrambling for explanations. Could it be that ancient texts and so-called pseudo-historians were closer to the truth than the polished narratives of academia? If so, then the pyramids were more than royal monuments. They were the surface markers of an ancient knowledge vault, a message in stone left by builders whose identity we still struggle to grasp. If the pyramids conceal lost knowledge, what evidence exists that such advanced civilizations ever walked the earth? The answer may lie thousands of miles away in sites that defy explanation just as boldly as Giza. The global puzzle. To understand Giza's anomalies, one must see them as part of a global pattern. Across continents, ancient sites exhibit engineering feats far beyond what conventional timelines suggest. In Peru, the fortress of Sacsayhuaman features stones weighing hundreds of tons fitted together with joints so precise that not even a razor blade can slide between them. In Lebanon, at Baalbek, 3 foundation stones, each weighing over 800 tons, lie stacked in a terrace that dwarfs modern cranes. In Turkey, Göbekli Tepe shattered assumptions by proving that 12,000-year-old hunter-gatherers carved and erected massive stone pillars aligned with celestial patterns. What ties these sites together is not cultural continuity, but technological similarity. Precision cutting astronomical alignments, and inexplicable scale suggest knowledge far beyond primitive tools. If such capabilities existed globally, then the underground networks beneath Giza may be another chapter in this forgotten history. Geological evidence of cataclysm around 12,800 years ago, including flooding and abrupt climate change, coincides with myths of a great flood preserved across cultures. Survivors of such an event may have encoded their knowledge in stone, creating repositories designed to withstand time. The AI scans revealed design principles at Giza that echo these global mysteries. Spiral staircases, cube-shaped chambers, and alignment to cardinal points suggest mathematical sophistication. Similar patterns appear in South American step pyramids and Mesopotamian ziggurats. It is as if remnants of a shared global blueprint remain scattered across the Earth. But could these similarities also extend to geological evidence, specifically the signs that water once shaped the Giza plateau in ways mainstream archaeology has long denied? The water erosion debate. In the 1990s, geologist Robert Schoch sparked controversy by claiming that the Sphinx showed signs of water erosion, not mere wind and sand. This implied the monument dated to a time when Egypt experienced heavy rainfall thousands of years earlier, potentially pushing its construction back to before dynastic history. Egyptologists dismissed the claim, arguing that such a conclusion rewrote too much. Yet the AI scans strengthened Schoch's case. Beneath Giza, the radar detected elaborate drainage systems and channels consistent with water management. If underground complexes included vast hydraulic features, then ancient builders clearly understood water on a scale beyond Nile irrigation. The presence of deep spiral wells could indicate aquifer access, flood management, or ritual water engineering. Geological surveys corroborated this, noting that the plateau once experienced intense weathering. If water had indeed shaped Giza, then its monuments predated the arid climate of later dynasties. This aligned not with pharaonic tombs, but with survival infrastructure created in response to cataclysm. Could the Sphinx and pyramids be relics of a civilization that endured floods and sought to preserve knowledge underground? If so, then why have mainstream authorities resisted every piece of evidence pointing toward this conclusion? The wall of resistance. Whenever discoveries threaten orthodoxy, institutional pushback follows. The Giza revelations were no different. Within hours of the Pisa report, Egypt's Antiquities Ministry declared the scans unscientific. Global media echoed the dismissal, downplaying the findings. But behind the scenes, archaeologists knew that acknowledging pre-dynastic civilizations would collapse decades of curated history. Egypt's tourism industry depends on presenting the pharaohs as humanity's pinnacle builders. Billions flow annually from this narrative. To admit that the pyramids were inheritances, not inventions, would destabilize both revenue and national pride. Universities, publishers, and museums also had vested interests in maintaining orthodoxy. Careers were built on the established timeline. To rewrite it now would mean confessing that generations of experts had been wrong. But AI radar changed the equation. Unlike digs, satellite scans required no permits, no on-site access, and no political approval. Anyone with the technology could scan and reveal anomalies. Suppression was becoming impossible, and with every new scan, the narrative cracked further. If mainstream archaeology refuses to accept the truth, then perhaps the builders themselves left clues within the very design of the pyramids, clues that only now are being understood. Codes in stone. For decades, researchers noted that the Great Pyramid's dimensions encode mathematical constants such as pi and phi. Its base perimeter compared to its height produces near-perfect ratios, while its alignment to true north is within fractions of a degree. Dismissed as coincidence by some, these alignments become harder to ignore when combined with the underground structures revealed by AI. The spiral staircases, cube-shaped chambers, and linear tunnels also reflect geometric perfection. Acoustic studies revealed that certain chambers resonate at specific frequencies, suggesting deliberate design for sound or energy manipulation. The possibility that the pyramids were part of a larger system of harmonic structures gained traction. Could these monuments have been more than tombs, perhaps energy devices, astronomical observatories, or even consciousness technologies? The AI scans added a new layer: astronomical alignments not only above ground, but underground. The orientation of deep chambers corresponded with star patterns as they appeared 12,000 years ago, not in Khufu's era. This implied that whoever built the network encoded a sky map from a forgotten epoch. If the pyramids encode the sky, could they also be connected to myths of global cataclysm and survival traditions shared across cultures? Myths as memory. Flood myths exist across civilizations, from the Sumerian Atrahasis to the biblical Noah to Mesoamerican traditions. They describe advanced cultures wiped out by deluge, with survivors preserving knowledge for future generations. Mainstream scholars dismiss these as allegories, but geological evidence of abrupt climate change 12,800 years ago aligns too closely. The Giza underground complex fits this narrative. Massive cube chambers 2,000 feet below ground could serve as repositories safe from floods. Spiral staircases and wells suggest deliberate access routes for survivors returning generations later. What if the pyramids were never meant as tombs, but as markers guiding descendants to hidden knowledge? If true, then myths are not fiction but fragmented memory. And the eye, scanning stone with dispassionate precision, may have uncovered the evidence that proves them right. But what about the human factor? Who were these builders, and how did their knowledge disappear so completely? The lost engineers, the scale of the underground network beneath the pyramids, suggests far more than clever mathematics. It points to generations of accumulated knowledge, the work of a culture that had mastered surveying, geometry, and stone engineering on a level that conventional explanations struggle to accommodate. The spiral wells and cube-shaped chambers revealed by artificial intelligence are not the result of crude experiments with copper chisels, but the product of refined expertise, technologies that would have required precision instruments and methods capable of shaping stone with smoothness approaching modern machining. Laser analysis of surfaces around Giza has already shown polish so consistent that it resembles work done by machines rather than hand tools. The edges are sharp, the planes are flat, and the joints fit with tolerances so fine that even a modern blade cannot pass between them. These are not the marks of amateurs testing their craft, but the fingerprints of engineers who knew exactly what they were doing. Ancient texts, often dismissed as myth, speak of godlike beings who taught architecture and engineering to humanity. In Sumerian records, the Anunnaki are described as imparting knowledge of the heavens and construction. In Egyptian traditions, Thoth is remembered as the scribe of the gods who gave sacred geometry and writing to mankind. Greek legends describe Prometheus gifting fire and knowledge, while in Mesoamerica, Quetzalcoatl is portrayed as a civilizer who bestowed mathematics and astronomy. Scholars interpret these as allegories, but perhaps they represent the distant memory of real individuals, engineers so advanced they appeared divine to later generations. If survivors of a cataclysm once preserved fragments of knowledge, they would have been remembered as culture bringers, their abilities so far beyond the local populations that myth became the only language to describe them. Modern DNA research adds another piece to this puzzle. Genetic studies reveal bottlenecks in human populations around 12,000 years ago, precisely during the Younger Dryas period of abrupt climate change and flooding. This suggests that large groups were wiped out or reduced to scattered survivors. If those survivors belong to advanced societies, their knowledge may have been saved in part, but not in whole. They may have built repositories of stone, leaving behind monuments both as functional archives and as markers for those who would follow. The pyramids, with their underground networks, could be one such library of survival, encoding lost technologies in architecture itself. This idea is not speculation alone. Around the world, we find monuments that appear out of step with the cultures attributed to them. Stone blocks weighing hundreds of tons in Baalbek, precision masonry at Saksai Huaman, and astronomical alignments at Göbekli Tepe suggest construction knowledge existing long before dynastic Egypt or classical Greece. The lost engineers may not have been confined to one region, but part of a global network of civilizations whose works still stand, mute but undeniable. If we accept this, then Giza is not an isolated anomaly, but a central node in humanity's forgotten past, one that has now been illuminated again by artificial intelligence scanning. If the evidence points to forgotten engineers who once shaped the world, then what does it mean for us now, living in an age where technology is once again advancing faster than we can fully understand? The future of the past. The discoveries at Giza are not only about uncovering history, they are warnings written in stone about the cycles of civilization itself. If advanced societies once rose, mastered technologies, and then collapsed into ruin, then humanity today is not unique. We may be repeating a pattern rather than pioneering new ground. The pyramids, towering above and stretching deep below, may serve as monuments of remembrance, reminders that knowledge can elevate but also vanish, that progress is fragile when confronted by catastrophe. Artificial intelligence, the very tool that revealed the underground city, represents a new turning point. It sees what human eyes cannot, mapping beneath stone and sand, decoding patterns too complex for manual analysis. Yet, as it uncovers secrets of the past, it also raises questions about the present. Are we rediscovering what earlier intelligences already knew? Could AI be the modern echo of the ancient engineers' knowledge, a reawakening of capabilities once lost? If the pyramids encoded messages or systems of preservation, then perhaps they were meant not just for their own time, but for ours, anticipating that humanity would one day rise again with tools capable of unlocking their meaning. As satellite scans continue, other sites will inevitably yield their secrets. The Andes, Mesopotamia, Angkor, and even submerged coastal shelves may reveal evidence of underground cities, repositories, or monuments aligned to star maps from forgotten epochs. Each discovery will strain the boundaries of mainstream archaeology, exposing how fragile our official histories really are. Already the resistance is clear. Institutions deny, deflect, or delay acknowledgement of anything that threatens their authority. Yet the data speaks louder than politics. Machines have no stake in tradition. They record what they find. The truth about the pyramids challenges more than Egyptology. It challenges the very conception of human history as a steady march of progress. Instead, it suggests cycles of rise and fall, civilizations that reached heights, collapsed, and left fragments for future generations. If that is so, then humanity stands at a threshold. We can either repeat the mistakes of the lost engineers or learn from them. The monuments may not be tombs of kings, but cautionary tales of civilizations undone by forces they could not control, whether natural cataclysm or their own hubris. The deeper implication is that our present is not disconnected from our past. By uncovering these underground networks, AI may be forcing us to confront the possibility that we are part of a repeating story, a narrative of human potential and vulnerability written across millennia. If ancient engineers foresaw collapse and tried to preserve what they knew, then the least we can do is listen to their message. The pyramids could be more than wonders of architecture. They may be survival manuals carved in stone. What other secrets still lie buried beneath the sands, waiting for machines to reveal them, and for us to finally decide whether to learn or to repeat the cycle? The pyramids have stood for over 4,000 years, their purpose and origin shrouded in mystery. Yet with each technological advance, the sands yield more of their secrets. AI scanning has now revealed networks that point not to tombs, but to an advanced civilization erased from history. If this evidence holds true, then the story of humanity must be rewritten from the ground up. What do you think these hidden chambers really are? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned, because the next discovery may change everything we think we know about our past.